Back with Performance 4x4, and today we are changing wheel bearings. Alright guys, so we're working on the Infinity again. Like I said, we're putting new front wheel bearings in. This is an all-wheel drive, so it has a drive shaft that powers the front wheels. I believe this will be the same fix from 2003 to 2012, and there's probably a lot of other Nissans and Infinitis that is exactly the same. But first, we're going to get these wheels off. Take a flat prying tool, pop it out. We take a 21mm socket. And as you can see, I'm using jack stands, my jack, and always chalk the wheels. You always want to be over prepared for anything. I'd hate for this to fall down. But now we need to remove the brake assembly. You can take a pry tool and kind of compress the pistons in to make it a little bit looser getting off. And as you can see, that should just make it a little bit looser, a little bit easier to get off. On the back side here, you should have two 14mm bolts, one at the top, one at the bottom. I'll spin them out by hand after that. When doing brake work, it's nice to have a metal hanger so you can actually hang the brake caliper from somewhere to keep it from pulling tension on the brake line. Hang it like that up out of the way. Now when you're taking the brakes off, try to remember which side was which when you put them back. This would be a good time to go ahead and put new brakes on. I don't have the money to do that now, so I will do that later. These ones don't look too bad, but we're going to take these off and, like I said, lay them to the side where this one's on the front, and know that this one was on the back. Alright, now we got to take the brake mounting bracket off. There are two 19mm bolts, one up here on top and one right here on the bottom. There. Alright, I finally broke those loose. They were super tight. I probably should have used some PD blaster, but I'm not really sure if that would have helped much. You hate that when you're spinning a nut or a bolt out and you think think, oh, he'll come out with my fingers now. And then all of a sudden you hit a spot where, nope, you got to use the wrench again. Alright, so there's the bracket. Set it aside. Now, off comes the rotor. And we're to the wheel bearing. Next, we need to try to disconnect the ABS line. It is a 10mm bolt, and you want to be easy on that so you don't break it. I got my screwdriver packed behind this and just slowly wiggled it, and then it should just slide right out. Tuck that up and away. Alright, so now we're ready to take off the axle nut. We will take this cotter pin out. Alright, we got the cotter pin out. Now we're going to take this axle nut off. It is a 32mm socket. I tell you what, if you don't have a cordless impact drill, no matter what size, you should get one, because they make life so much easier. I don't see how I ever fixed anything without one of these. So take your nut and your washer, set those two aside. You want to save those, don't drop it. Now we will be removing the 4 bolts that hold it on. There are 2 in the back on top, 2 in the back on bottom. You can see those in there. They are also 19mm. Alright, I got them all loosened up. I'll go ahead and get them out of the way and bring you back. Alright, now that we got those 4 bolts out, you notice this is kind of tight and seized up. You should be able to just hit it a little bit and it will free it up. Alright, I guess we'll have to stick something in behind it. It's a little seized up. Well, broke the tip of the screwdriver. I don't know why it's holding on so well. To get a bigger screwdriver, I guess. There it comes. Alright. Slide right off like that. Remember which way your brake dust plate goes. Set it down below. And remember which way it came off, because you want it to be in the same direction that your ABS line goes in. Put it upside down, it ain't going to work as well. Alright, so here we have our old wheel bearing. And here is our new wheel bearing. We went with Detroit axle. I would usually do Moog, but I was kind of on a budget, and they're still pretty good. I've used Detroit axle before and never had a problem. So on this old one, I can feel just that little bit of roughness. The new one is completely smooth. Alright, so let's get this one put back in. Alright, before putting the new wheel bearing back in, I want to clean up a little bit around here. Obviously that's why the old one wouldn't come out so well. It's a little rusty. So we'll clean this before, then we'll start the reassembly. Alright, so we line up our wheel bearing the right way up, the same way the ABS line goes in. We put the shield for the brake assembly back on and just slide it into place. Thread our bolts back in the back. After we get them hand tightened in, you want to kind of go in a crisscross alternating pattern when tightening back up, so that way you don't get it going in sideways. Put a few turns on one, go to the other side, put a few turns on it, go to the other side, or go to the bottom, put a few turns on it until you get them snug before you crank them down to the spec. Alright, we got them all snugged down. Well, it seems like 203 foot-pounds is maybe too much. Maybe I should look that up again. Alright, so I got another bolt. I went ahead and retorqued them. I found another place that said 110 to 120 foot-pounds. So that's way different. Obviously that's why I broke the bolt. Guess I should have done a little bit more research. But now we're ready to put on the axle nut and the cotter pin. Hopefully we can find the right spec for this. Alright, so the axle nut is 177 foot-pounds, but since the front end will turn in off the ground, I'll have to wait until we get it down on the tires. So we'll go ahead and put the brake assembly back together. Make sure you put the rotor on first and hand tighten your bracket. Alright, I got those tight. I'm not going to go over torque specs because obviously I don't even know. They need to be tight. Alright, we'll put the brake caliper back on. Like I said, make sure that the brakes go the same way. get those tightened back down. Alright, now we don't want to forget about the ABS line. Remember to put it back in. This doesn't need to be very tight, so I wouldn't tighten it too much because I heard they can break. Alright, I got that ABS line tightened down. Now we're going to put the wheel and tire back on. Normally we wouldn't do this before finishing, but obviously we can't torque this down until this is down on the ground. Always hand tighten your lug nuts on first. I've had guys rotating my tires try to put them on with a socket and then strip it. You don't want that to happen. And it looks like I have ripped my glove. Dang it. Now fingers are going to get dirty. Alright, I'll get these tightened up and we'll set her down. Alright, I went ahead and done the other side, so now we can lower the jack down. I got the jack stands out. We're going to set it down and then we'll torque our axle nut. I'm not going to set it all the way down, just enough to where the tires can't turn. These should be 177 foot-pounds. Do the other side real quick. Alright, let me put our pin back in. Alright, now that I got the cotter pin back in, we want to torque the lug nuts to 80 foot-pounds is what I found. Who knows if that's right. And now we'll move to the other side. And after I get the other side torqued down, we'll go take it for a ride and see if we fixed it or not. Hopefully we did. Well, we've been driving for a while now and it seems to have fixed it. It is very smooth. There's no more rumble noise. I believe it fixed it. The bad thing is every time I fix something, it seems like something else has to break. The window motor just went out, or switches or something, because this one doesn't work, that one doesn't work. Sorry about the wind noise, since the window won't go up. But it seems like it's fixed. Come back next time to see what we fix or break. Thanks for watching Packwood Performance 4x4. We'll see you next time.